Hello, let's talk about corruption. Let's learn how to gain it and then how to get rid of it. But first, let me tell you what corruption really does to your character. Corruption will decrease the character's maximum stamina and health bar size in a certain way, as it will decrease their values to a certain point, making the character weaker, with its health and stamina reduced and limited until the character gets rid of this curse that corruption is on its own. There are a few types of corruption: normal corruption, light, medium, and heavy corruption. These types are really related just with the amount of corruption you can gain at once within a certain period of time, from what I've noticed. The more you are exposed to corruption, the more dangerous it will become for you. The maximum corruption a player can obtain is about 50% of their health and stamina status, so it cannot really kill the player, just make them weak. Concerning the patch 3.0, I've added in this video the info about the perks corruption and the use of sorcery as well. Even though corruption is clearly harmful, it comes with its own benefits because your character must be exposed to it in exchange of becoming more powerful in a certain way, or to obtain treasures from the map, for example. Good things demand some sort of sacrifice in Conan Exiles world, after all. How to gain corruption? There are a few different ways of getting corruption. Let's start with the most common and maybe the fastest way of getting it, which is getting inside corrupted areas. Certain mysterious places from the game are still cursed with some sort of magic, which will gradually corrupt you once you go through them. If you find purple clouds in points of interest, you will know what's waiting for you there. Obelisks are also surrounded by a cloud of corruption. You can also become slightly corrupted by getting attacked by specific kinds of undead or demonic enemies, like for example, the undead dragon, wights, and silent legion warriors. Another way of becoming corrupted is by using specific types of weapons that are linked with corruption. There is a small group of weapons that can cause corruption to the player who is carrying them. These weapons are cursed. You can notice that in their description. They will corrupt you very quickly. For example, weapons like the legendary Carnage, Blackheart Blade, Destroyer, and Blackheart Hammer will make you gain a significant amount of corruption while you are carrying them. This is in exchange of fighting with powerful weapons, of course. It may be useless to give these weapons to your fighter trolls, however. If you increase your survival attribute to the 4th perk, the antidote of 1 perk, you will not gain any corruption from using these weapons. But pay attention to the fact that this info will be soon outdated due to the incoming changes on the attributes and perk system related with the patch 3.0, unless there will be a similar perk to this one. There are other types of weapons linked with corruption, but they may work differently from the weapons that have the cursed trait in their description. The weapons I'm currently talking about are the ones with the corruption affinity trait in their description instead. It is possible to find a few of them through your gameplay between the Exile lands and the Isle of Sipta maps. Weapons like, for example, the Depraved Spear, the Wicked Edge, and the Sorcerer's Great Axe have the corruption affinity. While they did not give me any corruption while being carried, they may deal extra damage against enemies if the player who is using these weapons is highly corrupted. There is a third type of weapons linked with corruption, the corrupted weapons. Like the corrupted Affinity weapons, corrupted weapons do not give corruption to the player who is using them. Instead, these corrupted weapons will give corruption to any other players who get hit by them. So these corrupted weapons are useful for multiplayer PvP servers. If you engage in combat with other players, you can hit them with corrupted weapons and decrease their max stamina and health during combat. Examples of corrupted weapons are the Lance Mordlon and the corrupted axe. Another way of gaining corruption is by consuming the drink called Corrupting Brew. This drink will give you a small amount of corruption each time you consume it. You can make Corrupting Brew at the stove after you have unlocked the Specialist Cooking 1 feat. You can find this feat in both official maps. In the Exile Lands, by the Summoning Place. In the Isle of Sita, you may want to try your luck by looting human NPCs from Summoned Lay Shrine Surges, for example. The more Corrupting Brew drinks you consume, the more corrupted you get, until a certain point, of course. It took me around 32 Corrupting Brews to stop gaining corruption. After the new update 3.0 is implemented, corruption will have an even bigger role, and with that, more ways of becoming corrupted will be in. The use of sorcery leads to corruption. You will need to become corrupted to a certain point if you want to cast certain spells. Also, if you want to become more powerful, at the cost of sacrificing your own health and stamina, you will be able to corrupt your own attributes perks and replace them for, let's say, stronger perks. This will add extra corruption to your character too. You will not be able to cleanse all of your corruption if you corrupt your perks all the way up. Corrupt half and you can cleanse half. Fully corrupt all the perks from one attribute and you have to live with a 50% permanent corruption. Of course, it is not fully permanent if you do something I will talk about soon in the next part of this video, so keep an eye. How to remove corruption. To get rid of your corruption, there are also different ways of doing it. The oldest way of cleansing your corruption in the game is to be close to a dancer troll. You can choose to capture dancers or entertainers, it's pretty much the same thing, from camps that have them available. Convert them and place them on the ground. Or visit Super Mario City in the Exile Lands or the Camp of the Castaways in the Isle of Sita map. Both neutral points of interest that have dancers and NPCs that will make your corruption go away. If you have a dancer troll, you can also bring one with you on your trip through the map and cleanse yourself out of corruption. Or head back home to do it whenever you need, optionally. There are a few gear pieces you can equip to help you slowly cleanse your character statues. I advise you to read the items descriptions because sometimes they give you hints about their extra functionalities. The Champion's Leggings is one of the items with the cleansing properties. These are part of the Arena Champion's armor fit you can unlock while running through the Warmaker's dungeon, which makes this option of corruption cleansing probably one of the most tricky to opt for. Wearing these leggings will slowly remove your character's corruption. Pay attention to the fact that not every item with cleansing properties may cleanse you out of corruption though. Some will cleanse you out of certain types of poison, noxious gas, and so on. For example, I have read something about the scorpion harness before, so I decided to test it out on my character. This one has also cleansing properties. I still got corrupted while using the cursed weapons while wearing the scorpion harness, as well with when I went to corrupted areas, so I'm not sure if this is working as intended now. This harness may be working more for curing characters from alcohol and food poisoning, as well with noxious gas instead, right now at least. Now let's take a look at some of the consumables that can get you rid of corruption too. Cleansing Brew. This drink can get you rid of just a little bit of your corruption, so you may want to carry multiple drinks with you if you are heavily corrupted. You can make the cleansing brew at the stove, once you learn the specialist cooking tree feat, located at the northeast side of the Mounds of the Dead by the Exile Lands map, and likely through a search human NPC drop by the Isle of Sipta map, unless you find it there differently. The Heart of a Hero has a few different uses, but it is also a pretty good consumable item to get you quickly rid of all corruption. This type of item is not found commonly, however. You can mainly find Hearts of a Hero dropping from the corpses of Relic Hunter Treasure Seekers mini-bosses from the Unnamed City by the Exile Lands map. You may also find Hearts of a Hero with some luck in chests by the Isle of Sipta map, so keep searching. This is by far the best consumable item to get you rid of corruption quickly, by the way. The Corrupting Brew will also start cleansing you a bit once you reach the corruption limit, but you should prefer another way of cleansing your character instead. Now about the perks corruption. Once the new attributes and perks revamp is in, the only way of getting rid of the what's so-called permanent corruption is by really resetting your attributes build and points with the help of potions, then cleanse yourself naturally through the other ways I've mentioned previously. To reset your attributes, without being under admin mode of course, you can opt for using the old Yellow Lotus Elixir, which will not only reset your attributes but also your feats. Or the Potion of Bestial Memory instead, that will reset only your attributes, but not your feats. This potion can be unlocked through learning the Midnight Alchemist feat at the Child of Jebel Sag at the Exile Lands. Or try your luck through, for example, the schematics fragments at the Isle of Sipta map to get the Midnight Alchemist scroll, or even by killing one or another boss that may drop the potion instead. And we have reached the end of this video. I hope this was useful for some of you at least. Thank you for watching.